There we go. We're on. Yeehaw! Ooh, a little more chilly than I was expecting today. I'm not dressed appropriately, particularly as fast as we're gonna go. Woo! We're hauling today. That's the plan anyway. See what happens. Welcome to the Spinistry channel. I'm your host Kevin, and boy, have we got a packed show for you today. We're covering a lot of ground, literally. The primary focus, but we're doing a bunch of stuff today. And hopefully it's not too much wind at this blazing speed. So, we're scouting the west end of our Trinity Trio route for Sunday's Trinity Trio event. This is basically the Sansom Park end, but we're starting east of downtown on the Trinity trails and heading up to Sansom Park and gonna loop back. Tried to scout this yesterday, but we'd had some rain the night before. River was up, water crossings were underwater. I expect they'll be better today. And the gravel parts of the trail were really sloppy yesterday. I expect they'll be perfectly fine today for the most part. Maybe some puddles here and there, possibly. That's the main focus of today's ride. Two, what the Trinity Trio is actually it's the Fort Worth chunk of our Taco Casa Loop. Planning to scout and officially release our Taco Casa Loop fairly soon, prior to summer for sure, is the goal anyway. Now that the River Legacy section goes through like we hope. What I'm doing is I'm verifying chunks of the Taco Casa Loop, which is about 300 miles of mostly dedicated bike paths and bike lanes, and it connects a bunch of mountain bike trails in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, and it hits a lot of Taco Casas along the way. That's why we call it the Taco Casa Loop. Thirdly, a byproduct of all that, and that's why we're going so fast today. Today's ride, assuming everything goes as planned, should take us over 2,000 miles on the Salsa Tributary. So this will be a 2,000 mile review or sketch of my experience with this bike. Hi there. And part of what we're going to do with that, because we are scouting, and I'll talk about more of the details of the whys and the wheres and the hows of that with this bike going forward. We're also experimenting with the battery life at different modes. I'm behind the curve time-wise today. You know how it is, life happens. So a ride that was supposed to start at 10 o'clock this morning is now starting at 3:30 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna put it in, I think they call it sport mode, boost level 3. All right. This water crossing was crossable yesterday, but definitely the water's lower. So I think the others will be fine. And this is why we scout. This has been giving us issues for a long time now. We'll check it from the other end too. They've been working on something with that pump station for forever. I don't know why or how. Let's see, are we on the right? There we go. I think we're on the right path. And that's part of what we're verifying with the scouting here, is the accuracy of the GPS file. Watching on my Wahoo Element Chrome. So there's not going to be a lot of turn-by-turn directions on this. So you will have to lean on following the track on the map. So like here, and lots of the Trinity trails You have a paved option right next to a gravel option. I mean, our preference is people take the gravel sections whenever it's viable. But, I mean, it's not a rule. You do you. There we go. Now we're recording. All right. First water stop. Don't usually stop, but pro tip, or very unpro tip, I have extra bottle mounts on the fork legs on this thing, and I tossed my third bottle. I'm only carrying 3 today. I tossed my third bottle over a bump, and with these fork mounts I have lost a bunch of water bottles along the way. If you're doing the fork mount, mount low and throw in a short bottle, or have some sort of strapping system. You'd think I'd have learned by now. I keep forgetting. Well, yeah, this is a little secret section. A little bit off the beaten path. We've done it before. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, it's trimmed up. And the GPS track is accurate. More stone in here than there used to be, from what I remember. Just a cool little Easter egg. I was concerned this might be a little sloppy, but not so much. There is a little bit of a creek crossing here. We'll see what that's. Oh, I see water flowing already. I see water flowing already. I'm gonna play it safe. I can ride that, but I don't have to. This is good exercise for the knee. Doing stuff like this that I don't normally do, because we got lots of adventuring in our future, which is part of why this bike is set up the way it is. Okay, knee handled that okay. Of course, I was in the wrong gear, even with the e-bike. So now I'm gonna have to walk up this rise. It's all good. So let's talk about the Scout bike a little bit while we're here in a quiet little section with a break from the wind. So I don't have a truck anymore. We have the Spinistry van now as the primary Spinistry mobile, which doesn't do a very good job of scouting hundreds of miles of dirt roads. Obviously, I can't bring it to places like this. And I'm going to have very limited access to Jan's Jeep for scouting. So the plan is to turn this Tributary into my primary scouting tool going forward, which means I just ride my bike more, which is cool. Unless something catastrophically dies on us, which it hasn't yet on this bike, except for a tire. We should cross 2,000 miles with it today. And it's a great bike. I like it a lot. Two things I'm less than pleased about it, but I can live with both of them. One, it's ugly. It's an ugly ass bike. It really is. Hello. So I can tolerate that, though, because it does the job well. So I am definitely a function over form type guy. Obviously, ideally you get both, but I'm one of those, if I have to choose between the two, I will take function every time. Fortunately for me, my wife is function and form. Yeah, baby. The other thing that is less than ideal on this bike is it's always been finicky. That's a generous term with the shifting, but it's an e-bike, so there's a lot of flexibility around that. The main culprit on it is the damn internal routing. It's got some wonky internal routing for the rear derailleur that just puts all sorts of kinks in it, so it's almost impossible to get clean shifting with mechanical shifting. There's a greater than zero chance that I'll upgrade this to electronic shifting at some point. Those are the two biggest negatives on this bike. Everything else I like a lot, but we'll go into more detail on the stuff that's really outstanding on it in a bit here. Well, I'm glad I'm scouting the route, because the way I'm changing up what I had in mind. Originally, I was doing the low water crossing back there a little bit, because it's really the most straightforward way to connect to the roads that get to Sansom without having to, it's a little more complicated this way. Not a big deal, but just not as simple. But I realized that it would mean missing the falls here if we did it that way. So I'm going to reroute so we get the falls in the mix. Hello.
Hi there.
And this is the first time I've really seen them running in a while. Usually they're pretty dry lately, so nice to see them running. Well, now we're in Bob Ross mode. Happy little accident. Found a new section I've never been on before that does give us a slightly different way back to the water crossing, low water crossing. That's kind of cool. Off to the left is the way we went out to the falls, and we came back across the top of the levee there. This will be a little bit of a double back here. Then we'll hang this left here. Kind of the best of both worlds that way. I like it. But this is definitely the better section to go through the collegiate neighborhood that gets to Sansom Park. There is a little trick to getting off the trail. There's no true bike throughway. They have this cable fence almost the whole way. So what we need to do is go up here to the end by the road and take this little cut through here. Or you can just lift it over the fence if you prefer. And then we're going to take mostly just some little neighborhood roads to Marion Sansom Park. There are two Sansom Parks in Fort Worth, and Sansom with an N, S-A-N-S-O-M. Marion Sansom Park is the one with the mountain bike trail and the primary destination, but this route actually goes through both of them. Here's where that collegiate roads neighborhood spills right into Trinity Trails pathway. I don't know if this is actually technically Trinity Trails. I'm not sure. City of Fort Worth for sure. And this is a newish section. Yeah, now we're in Marion Sansom Park. And look like Got some mountain bike trail off there to the right. I haven't ridden trail here in forever. Proud to be part of the first crew that ever turned shovels out here to create this mountain bike trail. I mean, I think it was like 20 years ago. And this was a very underutilized park at the time. I think we did it under CAMBA. This was before WMBA, Fort Worth Mountain Bike Association. This is Cowtown Area Mountain Bike Association. I'm assuming the trail's closed today, but I don't know that for certain. If it is open by Sunday, this is the main trailhead right here. Look at that view. It's fantastic. This is where we always hosted Seeing Some 66 from. Man, makes me want to do it again. Now here's a real climb that's in the mix presently. I think I'm going to cheat and turbo the hell out of this hill. So we get to Sansom on the route just fine, Marion Sansom. Now we'll make sure that we get back from Marion Sansom just fine. There's one highway crossing up here that's new to me, a new way I haven't mapped to get the Taco Casa in the mix. Yeah, I'm glad I'm on an e-bike at the moment. It's a big ass hill. Yeah, that's one of the things I really like about this bike. It's got a strong motor. And a big battery. It go far, it go fast, it go strong. I think the longest ride I've done on it's around 85 miles or so. That was definitely babying it in eco mode, and even turning off pedal assist on descents and stuff like that. I'm confident it's good for 70, 75 miles with eco assist the whole way, even with some hills in the mix. You can probably milk it to 100. In eco mode, you can do 100K and not even think about it. Tour mode is good for 50, 55 miles. The higher ones, 35 miles or less, maybe even 20, low 20s if you go turbo the whole way. Now we are at Buck Sansom Park. Definitely had to reroute for the Jacksboro Highway crossing, but we found a good way to do that. So for Trinity Trio, not a big deal because the Taco Casa is not technically part of Trinity Trio. I'll have to get creative for the Taco Casa Loop. But we really had two strikes against us. We're basically we're in rush hour, so that was a big part of it. And there was a lot of construction right there at Jacksboro and Roberts Cutoff. So that was creating confusion too. The bypass I found is great, so that's good. It gives a traffic light to cross. Just doesn't give you a Taco Casa. That's disappointing. It's a little breezy today. It's a good day to have an e-bike. What else about the Tributary do I really like? It's durable as hell. I haven't broken anything on this except lost a tire a couple rides ago, which I think was trail sabotage. And I put some super duper beefy new meat tires on it for our future scouting needs for the Tuba Trail. And there's definitely more rolling resistance with these, but it's an e-bike, so you know the motor pushes it okay. And I'm not here to go fast. I'm just here to make myself stronger. And the battery on the computer display coincidentally died the other day too. But it's all it was just a coin battery. Got one from Amazon the next day and works great. Nothing else is broken on this. Yeah, a little bit janky on the shifting. I would like that to be better. Brakes are good. Nothing's broken on me. Things I've switched out. I have redshift pedals, flats. I have the redshift kitchen sink bar and cruise control grips, which I really like. I didn't dislike the bar that came on this. Oh, there's another negative that this reminded me of, that I'm reminded of from this. Rider back, coming right. Whoop, sorry. The one downside to this bike, to be a bike packing e-bike, with the big old battery that it has in it, it makes for a very small front triangle, and storage for bike packing is kind of tricky on this. Most bags aren't going to fit in the triangle. There's a Salsa specific, technically I guess you would call it a half bag, but it's a lot less than a half bag. It's better than nothing. And that was part of why I got the kitchen sink bar and the kitchen sink bag that goes in that. That's for more storage. I do have an Aero Spider rear rack that I've used for scouting and Spinistry work stuff, that it's been handy, but I haven't actually used it bike packing yet. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I guess what the downside is, if you already have bike packing gear and bike packing bags, I have a ton of them, and none of them fit this bike. I had to get all new stuff to make it fit for this bike. And hey, so just another reason to lean on base packing. You don't have to worry about that as much. So we gotta do obligatory trip through the stockyards, right? I just can't not do a monster cross through Fort Worth without hitting the stockyards. Sometimes that gate closed, you gotta go around. This may be, we may come across a little bit of muck through here. Maybe, maybe not. But I gotta see what this stuff's like. A little bit of muck, a little bit of horse poo. This is usually the fun way through, except when it's wet, but it looks like we're going to be dry. There's an alternate that's paved path with a proper bridge up that way a little bit. What else do I like about my trip? Whoa, that's a little loose. Getting to try the new tires out. Was it loose, or was that the lugs on the tire grabbing like I'm not used to? That could be. It didn't look that loose. Tires may take some getting used to. Something I really like about the Tributary that I wasn't expecting to. I got the front suspension fork. I thought I would have been fine with the rigid fork. Oh, that's a little mucky. New tires handled it well. I'm really glad I got the suspension fork. I've put that to use a lot more than I ever expected to. It's a really good bike. I'm very, very happy with it. I still prefer to ride a traditional bike. I am not one of those that got an e-bike and I'm all e-bike all the time now. But I also recognize my limitations. So this is a useful tool for when I might be exceeding my self-created limitations at any time.